Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on your time zone. Welcome to my channel. My name is Ogbanje Joseph. Please subscribe to this channel, share, like, as well as drop a comment on the comment section. Our lecture today is titled The Factors That Give Rise to Non-Aligned Movement in the Third World. The factors that give rise to non-aligned movement in the third world. Now, the non-aligned movement is a group of states that are non-aligned with or against any major power bloc. The organization was formed in Belgrade in 1961 and was largely conceived by India's first Prime Minister Nehru, Indonesia's first president Sukarno, Egypt's second president Abdel Nasser, Ghana's first president Nkrumah, and Yugoslavia's president Broz Tito. Okay, all five leaders were prominent advocates of middle course for states in developing world between Western and Eastern blocs in the Cold War. According to Castro 1979, the purpose of the organization is to ensure the national independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and security of non-aligned countries in their struggle against imperialism, colonialism, neocolonialism, racism, and all forms of foreign aggression, occupation, domination, interference, or hegemony, as well as against great power and bloc politics. Now, let us look at the factors that give rise to non-aligned movement in the third world. What are the factors that give rise to non-aligned movements in the third world? Number one, world peace and security. Now, the non-aligned movement's commitment to peace predates its formal institutionalization in 1961. In 1956, India, Egypt, and Yugoslavia met, and they recognized that there exists a vital link between struggle for peace and endeavors for disarmament. At her meeting held in New Delhi in 1983, the movement described itself as history's biggest peace and movement. It places equal emphasis on disarmament. That is number one. Number two, restructuring of commercial relations between developed and developing nations. Now, the new international economic order, the new World Information Communication Order, and all of that actually led to the establishment of non-aligned news agencies pool in 1975 and later converted to non-aligned movement news network in 2005. Number three, multilateral cooperation that provides mutual benefits to developing states. Number four, independence for countries under colonialism and imperialism. Number five, formation of formidable front against apartheid. Number six, protection of territorial integrity of member countries. Now let us look at the current activities and positions of non-aligned movement. What are the current activities and positions of non-aligned movement? Number one, criticism of some aspects of U.S. foreign policy. Now, a very good example of the criticism of some aspects of the U.S. foreign policy is the 2003 invasion of Iraq, on the basis of war against terrorism. Its attempt to also stifle Iran and North Korea's nuclear plans, are all foreign policy choices that by the US that the non-aligned movement are actually against. Number two, self-determination self-determination of Puerto Rico. Self-determination of Puerto Rico. Now, since 1961, the organization has supported the decision of the case of Puerto Rico's self-determination before the UN. Okay, that's number two. Number three, self-determination of Western Sahara. Since 1973, the group has supported the self-determination bid of Sahrawi people. Okay, so number four, sustainable development. It's it is publicly it's public now. The non-aligned movement is publicly committed to the tenets of the Millennium Development Goals, now Sustainable Development Goals, but believes that the international community has not created conditions conducive enough for the for the development to actually happen in the third world countries, particularly Africa, because of debt burden, unfair trade practices, decline in foreign aid, donor conditionality, and lack of democracy in international financial decision making. Okay, then number five, reforms of the UN. Now, the non-aligned movement asserts that the undemocratic nature of the Security Council and the power dynamics actually need within the UN actually needs restructuring. Okay, then number six, South-South cooperation. Okay, South-South cooperation. Now, the non-aligned movement actually collaborates with the organization of the developing world, particularly the G77, to actually cooperate amongst themselves. They are advocating, so strongly, for South-South cooperation, that if they come together, they will be able to actually form a formidable front, okay, at the international arena. Okay, so number seven, cultural diversity and human rights. You know, cultural diversity and human rights is one of the aspects that the non-aligned movement is actually clamoring for. Okay, now this aspect, okay, this is an aspect that actually has the universality of human rights and of course social justice, but fiercely, of course, the non-aligned movement accept the universality of human rights and social justice, okay, but fiercely resist cultural homogenization. Now, okay, now the non-aligned movement actually preaches religious tolerance, sociocultural and historical particularities. Okay, what does that mean? It means that there should be religious tolerance. People should actually be able to tolerate themselves irrespective of ethnicity, religious differences, and of course tribalism. Okay, now so the non-aligned movement is largely a group of states that have come together, particularly countries in the third world, to ensure that there is peace in the world, by not tilting to the right or tilting to the left. And when I'm saying right, I mean the Western world, and to the left, I mean, the Eastern Bloc. And this existed, during the time of Cold War. Okay, so thank you very much.